Lindsay, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of some of the cemeteries that are here in Granville. Do you know what a cemetery is? Yep, a cemetery is where we bury our loved ones when they pass away. Some people think that cemeteries are spooky, but really it's a beautiful place for us to remember those who have passed. So today I'm going to share with you some of the pretty neat cemeteries that are here in Granville. Oh, and also, just for the record, some people think that black cats are spooky too, but that's not true. We're really, really, really nice and silly, and we have nothing to do with being spooky or bad luck or none of that stuff. We're good ones. All right, let's go on this tour. So we're gonna start here at the Old Colony Burying Ground. If you live in Granville, you may have been to the cemetery before or seen it when you've been driving by. So we're gonna go ahead and read this historical marker. The Historical Markers is a program that started in the 50s, and there's about 1,800 of these around Ohio, and they teach you all sorts of good stuff about the history in the towns that you're visiting. So let's go ahead and read this sign. Ready? Oh, and it's pretty busy traffic around here, so I'll do my best to read loudly. All right. The Old Colony Burying Ground, 1805. That's a long, long time ago. Granville, Ohio was settled in 1805 by the Licking Company, a group formed in Granville, Massachusetts, and Granby, Connecticut, for the purpose of immigrating here west from where they were. The Old Colony Burying Ground was defined on the first town plat of Granville in 1805, and many of Granville's pioneers are interred within the ground. Interred is a fancy word for being buried here in the cemetery. All right, let's keep going. Shoot, I lost my spot. The cemetery retains its original form and most of its westward facing rows of sandstone and marble gravestones. Wow. The early settlers buried here helped to lay out this town and determine the appearance and development of the village as it is today. That's so interesting. So now, if you want to check out this sign, you just come down here to the cemetery and you can read the full sign. It's pretty interesting. We're gonna go on into the cemetery now. Are you ready? Let's go. Going to the cemetery. Going to the cemetery. Oh, excuse me, camera lady. Can you get the gate for me? Thank you. Wow, did you hear that? Going to the cemetery. Let's take a stop real quick at this cool thing. So you see this picture of this guy right here? His name is Charles Webster Bryant, and he helped basically save the cemetery, because back around 1886, this cemetery was overgrown with all sorts of stuff, and some of the tombstones were knocked over. So Mr. Bryant here, he decided to catalog all who were buried, and it's pretty interesting. So you basically can come here, you open up this cool door, and it gives you a list of everybody who's buried here. I came here earlier to check out some spots, and we're gonna go ahead and visit where the very first librarian here in Granville is buried. So let's head over there, okay? All right, let's go. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Going through the cemetery. It's a very, very beautiful cemetery. It's very, very old too. So if you visit, make sure you're very, very, very careful. All right, we stopped at this sign because who doesn't love a good sign with lots of information? Yay, learning. Let's zoom in real quick and take a look at this really old photo, okay? All right, here we go. Thank you, camera lady. Okay, cool. It says Members of the Granville chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution and friends engaged in one of their periodic cleanups of the cemetery during the 20th century. Wow. If it wasn't for these folks, the cemetery would get overgrown. So it's so nice of people to take care of their local history and stuff. I love it. Thank you. If you want to check out this sign, you should come to the cemetery and read all the other cool stuff on it. All right, let's go find that tombstone. Here we go. Alrighty, here we are. We found the tombstone. So even before the original settlers came here to the village to start their new lives, they had made plans to establish a library. Even then, back in the very beginning. So the books for that library were purchased in the East and transported back here by a gentleman named Samuel Everett Jr. And about a week after the books arrived in November of 1805, so very long ago, they appointed officers for the Library Association and the very first librarian right here, Hiram Rose. And about 2 years later, a charter was granted to the association by the government of Ohio, also called the the Alexandrian Society, in memory of the great library of Alexandria, Egypt. And the charter also provided the operation of a bank, which is now the Granville Historical Society building. So pretty cool. If you want to know more about the library's history, you can just go onto their website. So pretty neat. The very first librarian in Granville is buried right here. As well are a lot of people who lived here a long time ago. Very interesting. Oh, and also, if you'd like some extra reading, this is where we got some of our information from. You can purchase these at the Historical Society, or you can come to the library and check them out. We've got them. So yeah, check them out. Very cool. Learning is fun. All right, let's head to the next cemetery. You know, for how old this cemetery is, it's really well kept. So, someone's working really hard. Wow. What a beautiful place. I've heard that bird watching is really good at cemeteries. You know, if you like to, not chase. If you like to watch birds. All right. Alrighty, so we are here at the next cemetery, which is called the Welsh Hills Cemetery. We are in the Welsh Hills area that's here in Granville. In 1796, there was a bunch of Welsh families that came from Wales to America. Theophilus Reese and Thomas Phillips are considered the founding fathers of the Welsh Hills area. In 1801, after staying in Pennsylvania for a few years, they purchased about 2,000 acres of land in Licking County. And soon lots of other families made their way out here to live here in the Welsh Hills area. Pretty cool. Alrighty, we've got another history marker. Thank goodness for all this good information. All right, let's read it. Welsh Hills Cemetery was once part of the United States military tract given to the veterans of the Revolutionary War. The land was owned by a Welshman named Samson Davis. On September 4th, 1801, so like forever ago, a portion of his land was purchased by the co-founders of Welsh Hills. We know them, Theophilus Reese and Thomas Phillips. They came from Wales. On February 6, 1808, Theophilus Reese donated a portion of the land for the establishment of this cemetery. On that same day, Reese Thomas who was the 8-year-old grandson of Theophilus Reese, became the first person interred here in the cemetery. Remember, interred means buried. That's pretty young. You know, a long time ago, people didn't live very long. There were diseases, and it was hard living back in the day. If you want to know more, books can really help you learn about that kind of stuff, about all the hardships that people faced a long time ago. So let's head into the cemetery, and we're going to look for the grave of Theophilus Reese. He's got a pretty cool history here in Granville. Are you ready? Let's go. Walking in the cemetery. This is a really beautiful cemetery. It's just outside of Granville, so you should definitely visit. And once again, remember to always be respectful. Now, there's a pretty cool story about Theophilus. That's a mouthful to say. Theophilus. Now, the story goes is that Theophilus thought that he heard angels singing, so he journeyed towards the sound, and he found the Granville settlers having a church service right in the middle of what is now the quad, and they were singing hymns, and Theophilus heard those hymns and thought it was angels, so he went to go check it out. A long time ago, Granville was a lot different. There's lots and lots of trees and valleys, no houses and stuff. So it was pretty wild out here. There were wolves. It was wild. So it's kind of amazing to think that they didn't even know that the Welsh folk were here, and the Welsh folk didn't know that the Granville settlers were there. But they all came together eventually. It was pretty cool. All right, let's find Theophilus's tomb. Where is it? It's somewhere around here. All right, here we are at the tombstone of Theophilus Reese, who was one of the founding fathers of the Welsh Hills area. As you can see, the words are kind of hard to read. With some of these really old tombstones, they just kind of get wear and tear because it's been, forever. So we've got this tombstone back there that is basically an updated version of this tombstone so we can read it. So let's go ahead and I'll stop rambling and read it. It says, in memory of Theophilus Reese, who died February 16th, aged 67. He was a native of Carmarthenshire near Mildrum, South Wales. Also in memory of his wife, Elizabeth Reese, who died April 9th, and she was aged 89 years. So she lived for quite a while. Very interesting. So a lot of the folks here are a part of the original Welsh families. So if you take a look around, there's a whole bunch of tombstones here. Oh, that's a cool one. And check out this huge tree. My goodness. I wonder what it's seen. Probably a whole bunch of stuff. Very cool. So definitely come and give this place a visit. All right, let's head to the next cemetery. Hello again. Here we are at the Phillips Cemetery. So this cemetery is quite a bit smaller than the other cemeteries that we visited. And what's cool is that according to OhioHistoryCentral.org, the Phillips Cemetery is one of the oldest family cemeteries in Ohio, which is crazy. So interesting, right? And most of the people that are interred in this cemetery are descendants of the Welsh families. So let's go take a look. So, in 1813, Thomas Phillips donated the land for the cemetery in Welsh Hills, Ohio. And today, Granville Township controls the cemetery. Phillips intended for the cemetery to be a burial place for his family members as well as his Welsh neighbors. In all likelihood, Thomas was probably the first person interred into the cemetery. He died on May 20th, 1813. But there's about 25 unmarked graves here, which is pretty interesting. I wonder who they were. most burials occurred before 1880, but a handful of bodies were interred into the cemetery as late as the 1910s and the 1920s. Pretty interesting. And I've been told that some of the descendants of the families that are buried here actually still live in the area. So very, very cool. Very interesting. All right, let's go take a look-see at some of these tombstones. Wow, look at those ones. That must have been a lot of hard work to carve all those pretty letters into the stone, don't you think? Wow, cool. Whoa. Wow. Wow, you can barely read that one. Whoa, look at this one that's knocked over. Wow, it's beautiful. Huh. Oh, there at the bottom, right with that piece that's broken off, it says, "I am at rest." Cool. What a beautiful little cemetery. If you wanted to learn more about the Welsh Hills families that came to this area, this is a really cool book. You can get it at granvillehistory.org, or you can check it out from the library. It's a very interesting read. Lots of cool history about the Welsh Hills area. So check it out. Well, thank you, friends, for joining me on the cemetery tour. Make sure if you visit any of these cemeteries that you are respectful of the grounds and the tombstones and the people who are buried there. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to granvillehistory.org, or you can check out Ohio History Central, or you can check out all these cool books from the library. So thanks for joining me today. Bye! Hi there, friends. My name is Lucy, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of some... Alright, the next cemetery is coming up. Alright, cut that last part. Don't worry about saying the next cemetery. We're good. Well, hi there, friends. My name is Lucy, and today I'm going to take you on a tour at Alright, third time's a charm. Alright, well that about sums up... Nope, cut. Redo. Yeah, camera lady, stay out of the camera shot thing.